Use a golden elixir to remove your negative alterations. Yeah. Any negative effects on you because you've either drunk too much with Elizabeth or you have drunk too many other elixirs and now kind of poisoned yourself. He has interesting, really sharp green eyes, like emerald green. It's interesting. It's not terribly common, especially on a brown-haired person, I don't think. Green eyes, yes. This shade of green, I don't think that's very common. I don't know the green's common, but it's not super rare, I don't think.
You're joking, I hope. Don't tell me you've done that.
Really? How do you expect me to guess?
Oh, for God's sake, just ask them.
Okay, so I either spy on them or I look for my mother. I mean, spying on them might let us know stuff about our mother, too. And we do know, it seems at least, that she and Volner were opposed to one another prior to our arrival on the island. So I kind of, especially having gone trying to help Washington earlier, I know it's not the same thing, but since we way earlier tried to help Washington, and so we avoided spying on somebody earlier, spying on somebody earlier, I think we'll spy this time. We'll see how well we do with spying, yeah. Alright. I don't know, though. I might have to make some choices to not get caught too, but we'll see. I don't know how spying works in this, really. We haven't done that yet.
We must absolutely inform Sir Gregory. How long has he been trying to collect all the spears?
I must have brought him the first one 20-odd years ago.
Do you know if he has managed to get the original?
Well, in any case, he's got all the ones we had at the Vatican. He made me replace them with copies. But I don't understand your reaction. I'm sure it is nothing serious.
Aha. I can see very well you do not understand. You have done nothing less than sign our death warrants, and still you don't understand.
Someone is listening.
What? Monsieur de Richet, why not join us rather than find yourself eavesdropping?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Of course you didn't. So, my son, what can we do for you?
I mean, should I know about this? I don't know if I want to let them know I know about that. Let's talk about this.
I didn't mean to spy on you, but you caught my attention. Your Eminence, I don't know what you said to Mr. von Volna, but the poor fellow looks positively crestfallen.
Not at all.
Don't you believe it, Louis. I was just telling Monsieur about Lord Mortimer's burning passion for holy relics. You must have noticed he's a bit of a collector. Well, for years, he has been searching high and low to bring all the copies of the Holy Spear together. As I was coming here, I thought I'd bring him a few of them. That's all.
Be quiet, for God's sake. Please leave us, monsieur. His Eminence and I wish to finish our discussion alone.
Why is that blue? Is that like to go interrupt them again or something? Let's not do that. I don't want to piss them off. They could get really irritated. Okay, well, we didn't really gain much except that they're talking about the Holy Spear. They're looking for a Holy Spear, like pieces of a Holy Spear or whatever. Hey, Lonnie, welcome. It's been a while. Welcome, welcome. Let's see if there's anybody else I missed. Mom was going out to breakfast. Okay. Okay. So, Fofox, Lonnie, and then Monmouth when he gets back. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if You were on already, Fofox, or not? Somni is feeling under the weather, so she said she's gonna go to sleep early tonight and then try to see my stream tomorrow. Whether she makes it or not is not. I don't actually care. I just want, obviously, I want to make sure she feels well. She gets whatever rest she needs. So since she's 2 hours ahead of the time, basically. So I'm like Denver, Colorado time zone, right? She's New York time zone, Washington D.C. time zone. So she's it's midnight where she is when I start. So I'm actually surprised that she regularly watches that late. I mean, holy crap, that goes late. And the other thing that possibly could have, I feel a little bit bad. I mean, I guess I don't feel bad. I didn't force her to watch or anything, but she might have wanted to keep watching to get the end of Shadwin last night. But by the time I finished, it would have been 4 a.m. her time, and I don't know what all else she had to do during the day. So she could have been really exhausted from that. It's hard to say. So anyway, so she'll sleep tonight, watch this after the fact, and then she'll try to join tomorrow if she can. So yeah, she talks well. I know, why, right? It's been like forever. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Have you I don't remember. Have you watched any of the episodes of the Council I've done so far, or any of the live streams? It's an interesting game. It's sort of a bit cloak and dagger. It's kind of like RPG-ish elements where you build attributes of your character in a mystery setting where you're using the different attributes you've learned to try to take advantage of other people to know, like manipulate them into telling you stuff they don't want to tell you or whatever. That last conversation was probably not a great example because apparently I didn't manipulate anybody for anything, but yeah. Okay, find out the origin of the sword left by my mother, which means, let's see, if we go, no, where are we? Is it not? I thought there was somewhere in here that it gave more details. Maybe not. So you get, for example, so you have in your character, you have these skills or whatever, okay? And you can use it for different things. So like conviction, you convince people with the sheer force of your will and your attitude. Vigilance, you notice details about people, but also about things being out of place in the room. Things like that. So different skills like that. Questioning, notice anything strange in someone's behavior or appearance when you talk to them. Psychology, all that kind of stuff, okay? These combined with certain successes during the course of the game can give you talents, which give you additional things. So, for example, I'll have to explain effort pool briefly. Anyway, so you get some of these things like this. So, I used subterfuge as kind of like your ability to kind of be, I don't know how you describe it, be stealthy in speaking. Like you say things just enough to get people to say stuff back without revealing what you're really after, kind of. Anyway, and so, well, actually it's over here. Let me just look, see what it actually describes it as. Discreetly steal items, pick locks, or notice falsification. Oh yeah, like you notice when people are lying, stuff like that. Anyway, and so if you use subterfuge enough times, in this particular case, you get an extra point in subterfuge. Things like that. You get these different skills or talents that add to your skill effectiveness. And then you have some traits. When you do certain things, you mold your personality a certain way as well. So it's not just you learn a skill, but you also become more of a... So like I just, with that last conversation, I just became somebody who snoops. So I gained a point in subterfuge because I snoop on people. Not all the time, just that one time. But anyway, that kind of thing. So obviously the map is no explanation needed. So journal is what you know about people, individual people. So Elizabeth Adams, her vulnerability was questioning. We don't know what her immunity is. William Mortimer is the guy that has this castle. His immunity is science. Don't know what his vulnerability is. This is our mom. We don't know her strength or weakness. Emma Hillsborough. We also don't know strength or weakness about her. Or him. Alright, Jacques Peru. We know he's vulnerable if you point out that he has problems with etiquette, or if you use psychological tactics on him, then he's vulnerable to that as well. Gregory Holm, don't know either. Okay, Emily Hillsborough. So Emma is Emily's twin sister. We haven't met Emma yet. We've only met Emily. Emily is vulnerable to psychology, but immune to logic. Like in terms of approaching how you talk to her. Piaggi, the cardinal we just were eavesdropping on, he's vulnerable to questioning and manipulation. The reason I didn't use manipulation in that conversation was, one, it was going to cost 3 points, and I only have 5 right now. And 2, I didn't want to use a bunch just on a simple conversation when there are other things to discover. But 2, I also didn't know if manipulation was going to be something that would work on the cardinal, or if Volner would step in and respond, in which case maybe he's immune to manipulation. I didn't want to take that chance, so I just said, okay, whatever. Okay, Napoleon Bonaparte, he's immune to conviction. So if you bring up how committed somebody is to a cause or something, you can't use that to manipulate him in a conversation. George Washington, we don't know any specific attributes or anything about him, weakness or immunity. And then servants are vulnerable to manipulation, logic, and questioning. Don't know what immunities they've got, but we know what they're vulnerable to, and that's a lot of options. That gives us a lot of leeway to potentially see a vulnerability and then manipulate them as a result. So, well, I mean, you've played the whole like Legend of Zelda series, Fofox. So I don't know if I'd say you're a noob. I mean, if you played tons of Legend of Zelda games, I mean, those are not short games, and there are a lot of them. So I don't know if I'd call you a noob. Plus, you've played some other games too, I know. I don't remember all the games you played, but I know you've played other games, so. Okay, so these are treatises. You can use them to increase your attributes. So once you go through a section, so you have episodes. We're in episode 2. If you go through a section of one of the episodes with one of the books equipped, like these two in this case, for example, then when you finish that section, you gain whatever it is the book gives you. So in this case, subterfuge, in this case, logic. White ones are ones that we've not yet used. We've used all the yellow ones, and the closed books are ones you've already earned. The open books are ones you're in the process of earning. So hopefully that gives you kind of a rundown. And then these are journal entries, or not journal entries, piece of paper, notes and things you get that when you collect, you know, it's like collectibles, but when you get all the collectibles, like in this case, then you gain, in this case, science, linguistics, erudition. In this case, you get manipulation, psychology, politics. And in this case, you would get manipulation, conviction, and occultism. But it's after you've finished. So basically, I got the last page. So now this functions as one of these tomes. So once we finish this section, this will then be a closed book, and we will have learned these 3 things. So, you're an expert at camping. I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with being an expert at camping. Camping's awesome. Okay. I think I'm going outside then, actually. If I'm trying to... Godoy, yeah. Not very often, but occasionally you're able to search somebody's room when they're not around, so. But I think that's it for up there. And sometimes you will fail at things. That I think that's okay. The main thing is you want to be able to progress with the overall story. You get more experience the more things you succeed at, or the more things you discover, that kind of stuff. So then the experience will potentially level you. Once you level, then you apply points to your different skills and stuff. So you do want to succeed, but if you fail once or twice or whatever, it's not the end of the world, I don't think. Now, if you failed at everything, probably would game over at some point, I would guess. But yeah, I mean, just like through here, left, through, left, and then out to here, right? I think. Okay. Since we're not in a new... Well, I guess we are in a new section, actually. New section of the episode. Chapter of the episode, whatever you want to call it. So I guess there actually might be things to discover. I don't know, I feel a little silly like doing the same thing over and over and over again, looking for coins and stuff. Like, I'm not a completionist by any stretch, so I don't really relish the idea of doing something that I pretty much have done already like 50 times. Just in case there's one more coin that showed up or something. I don't know if I'm going to get... I don't think I'll be able to see anything from here, right? They were too high up. Because I was going to analyze statues. Yeah, it looks like you can see the docks, but that's about it. Let's not. Okay. I don't think that's going to be helpful. I think we've already got all this stuff anyway earlier. Okay. So the library. Wait, you're expert at camping in games? Oh. Camping like for a boss or something? Is that what you're saying? Mom said don't read this, and then he never wants to read it, right?
The Miller Brothers. Mother expressly forbade me from reading it.
Yeah, and then he just says Mom forbade me, and then he stops. So I don't think there's anything else in here we've not already got. Hiding. Oh, so you're like amazing at Amnesia then? Is that what you're saying? Like you would just totally dominate a game like Amnesia: The Dark Descent? They'd never find you ever? Because if that's what you're saying, that's awesome.
Is everything all right, my young friend?
You never know because everyone's on the council, but I do feel like probably of all of the characters, Washington's probably one of the few I could trust, at least mostly. So I knew you were kidding. I was teasing you. Anyway,
Mr. President, you might be able to help me. I'd like to know where that sword comes from. Any idea?
It reminds me of the statues in the garden. I can't guarantee it, but you ought to go and see. You never know, do you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're quite welcome. See you soon.
like I said, I don't know if we can fully trust him because he is part of the council. But of all of the characters, he seems the least likely to screw me over as a consequence of telling him something like, I found this sword. So.
The sword probably came from this garden, but what could it have been used for?
Well, I mean, it's a sword. So it could have been used for chopping people in half. Although it's stone, weathered, and not in the garden anymore. So maybe not so much these days. More of those berries. Man, it's going to be a painful reminder that I killed that bird. Well, in most things, he's got his secrets. And if you try to delve into some of his own secrets, my guess is he's not going to be terribly happy. But I feel like most of the time you can probably trust him, yeah. Memoir to the Academy de something. I didn't read it all. Okay. Academy de Hippity Pip. Whatever it was. So there are several statues. It could literally be anything in here. Oh, that's great. Hopefully nothing in here is going to freaking get me killed or something. Jeez.
Ariadne. In Greek mythology, she helped Theseus get through the labyrinth.
Yeah.
Looks like there's a crack in the region of the heart.
Translate the plaque.
I guide the sword that will kill the monster. Let's see. A crack as long as my finger.
Crack as long as his finger. Is that the same width as the sword? I'm not sure. We could try it. Hopefully I don't wreck something doing this.
What's going to happen if I've got it wrong? Ariadne.
Oh. I could pull the sword out.
Try something else.
Let me not do that yet. I didn't realize. I thought I was just gonna like see if it would fit. I didn't realize there were multiple statues to choose from. Let's. Okay, hang on. So she says,
Ariadne.
"Yeah, we know. We know who it is. You have to do the little mini cutscene thing again."
I guide the sword that will kill the monster.
I guide the sword that will kill the monster. Okay. I might want to write this down. I guide the sword that will kill the monster. Okay. Whatever the monster is. We'll find that out maybe. Okay, what is this?
Here's the famous Ariadne's thread, thanks to which, if I remember rightly, Theseus avoided getting lost in the labyrinth.
Okay. Ah, Jacques Peru. I am not sure if I really want to have him see me wander through the maze, but I guess maybe.
Well, Monsieur de Richet, what brings you here?
I tell you what I'm looking for, Monsieur.
He's immune to questioning. Okay.
Peru. Will you promise to keep it to yourself?
Hell no. And anybody who gives you a promise like that is an unmitigated liar. Trust no one, Monsieur de Richet, or you'll soon be a dead man. I bid you good luck. You'll need it.
I'm locked out of an effort point, huh? Okay, which one is clear? This one, right? Yeah. I guess. It's interesting that down below, so these effort points down below are kind of like how exhausted you get or whatever. Anyway, apparently, even though I was locked out, it showed the condition up above, but it didn't show fewer effort points down below, which is a little strange. I think they're just collectibles. I don't know for sure, but I think they're just collectibles. Okay, got a royal jelly.
Golden elixir.
It's interesting there was an option to search it there. Where's this? Ah, right there, okay. Wait, there's no way behind here, right? No, okay. Okay, was that the very end of stuff out, like kind of out front here that I could get before I go into the maze and potentially get lost? Alright, so we're going to follow her thread, I guess? Hopefully this is right. We'll see. Oh, except that her thread goes straight. Can I go straight? No. Well, that's less than useful. I wonder if putting the sword in her opens this up. But probably not, because I would think symbolically you'd want to put it in like the monster or something, but let me put the sword in her and then look and see if that's opened up.
Ariadne. I guide the sword that will kill the monster.
Whoops. I just have to observe the crack.
Let's see.
I'm a little worried because it says what happens if I get it wrong, but now. Yeah, see, that's still blocked off. So let's remove this.
Ariadne.
Unfortunately, there's no way to skip his little talking about stuff.
Try something else.
So, okay. Well, that's kind of manure because I can't get through here. So I have to take some alternate path of some kind. And none of these seem to give me any kind of secret. Okay. I don't really know what other choice I have except to surely the game isn't over if you somehow fail this, right? I would assume if you fail this, you just reload. If you die in the process of trying, you probably just reload, right? I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I didn't hear anything about this game being permadeath or something, so I would guess.
Pasiphae, daughter of Perseus and sister of Circe. She married Minos and became the queen of Crete.
So I'm suddenly magically on the other side of her. Ha! I cheated. Okay.
She has no cracks. All right, well, let's continue anyways.
Wait, what? So I... Huh, maybe that's the way through. Maybe you analyze it from behind and you teleport to this side. Maybe that's not a glitch. I don't know, but...
I wonder what this kiosk is doing in the middle of the garden. Too cramped to be able to do much. Well, there must be something going on there.
Kiosk? Isn't it kiosk? Alright, anyway.
It looks like this slab moves. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a passageway underneath it. It's up to the just to deliver judgment. Truth unlocks all possibilities.
Okay.
What is that? It's like a sort of opening mechanism. Knowing Mortimer, I bet it's booby-trapped. There's a little hole at the fingers. I'm pretty sure if I get it wrong, I'll get pricked. Damn you, Mortimer. Reminds me of traps I studied in Egyptian tombs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. A key. So another key with an earth symbol. Okay. I wonder if you end up getting poisoned or something, if the golden elixir will heal it or not. Okay. What? This goes through. Is that water? Just in case, let's not walk on that. Here's more of the thread. Yeah. So now on the other side, if I follow the thread... Maybe I don't want to follow the thread. It's hard to say. Oh, coin! Woohoo! Okay. See, the fact that her thread keeps going through places you can't go tells me that her thread isn't really what you use to guide you in this case. Although it might be a deception. Like, oh, if they use this to try to guide them, they'll end up doing this or the other thing, which will screw them over. Can you imagine if these things were actually would come alive? How freaky that would be. Don't know exactly. The sword belongs to one of the statues in here. We don't know which one. It was a relatively worn statue we found up in Mortimer's office. Well, the room behind Mortimer's office.
Daedalus. He's the architect of the labyrinth. And if I'm not mistaken, he's also the father of Icarus. I am the architect of my own demise. Architect and genius inventor. He built the labyrinth for Minos to imprison the Minotaur. I seem to recall that he told Ariadne how to get out of the labyrinth by tying a thread to himself. So, Theseus managed to exit the labyrinth without trouble once the beast was dead. And when Minos found him, he threw him into his own labyrinth along with his son Icarus. Every action causes a reaction. Hey, there's a crack in this statue too.
Okay. Wherever the Minotaur is, I think we want to put the sword in the Minotaur. I don't know for sure, of course. But I think that might be the idea. If we're following the mythology. But maybe the idea is that instead, since he trapped Icarus and Theseus or whatever in the labyrinth after the fact, maybe putting the sword in him would prevent you from getting traps. I don't know. Not quite to there. All right.
Theseus, son of Aegeus. He's the one who slayed the Minotaur. Looks like a crack has been made on his torso. It's as long as a finger. I'd say between 6 and 8 centimeters.
This. Stone sword with moss on it. That's another thing, too, is we might need the moss on the statue already. I don't know for sure. Maybe. Okay.
I wonder if Mother managed to solve this enigma. Minos, son of Zeus and Europa. If I remember correctly, he was the king of Crete. Married to Pasiphae, he had many children, including the famous Ariadne, whom history remembers for her thread. Hey, there's a crack in that statue. His gesture sealed his fate. crack is in the region of the heart. It's a thin crack as long as a finger. A blade could easily enter. In mythology, King Minos was known as a wise and just king, despite the fact that he deceived Poseidon. As punishment, his country was devastated by the white bull of the sea god, and his wife became passionately in love with it. From their union, Asterion was born, sadly known to us as the Minotaur. The illegitimate child, the child of shame, who had a sorry fate. And to think that Minos ended up as a judge of the underworld. Decidedly, the high and mighty always managed to get away with it.
I'm going to listen to it one more time.
In mythology, King Minos was known as a wise and just king, despite the fact that he deceived Poseidon. As punishment, his country was devastated by the white bull of the sea god, and his wife became passionately in love with it. From their union, Asterion was born, sadly known to us as the Minotaur. The illegitimate child, the child of shame, who had a sorry fate.
I know in mythology the Minotaur was slain. I don't actually know if I would consider the Minotaur the monster here. Hard to say.
Carmelite water. Asterion. It is rare to see him like this. In general, he's represented with the head of a bull, with the features of the Minotaur.
The famous son of Minos in Pasiphae.
I am the cursed child.
Asterion was the son of Pasiphae and Minos, or rather the result of a curse put on Minos.
Minos was punished for betraying Poseidon. Of course, as strangely it often happens, it wasn't he who was punished, it was his wife. She had to mate with a bull, no less. From that union, Asterion was born, who everyone knows as the famous Minotaur. Rejected by Minos, he was shut up in the labyrinth so he could never leave. And, as if that wasn't bad enough, he died by the hand of a hero desperate to restore his reputation. Technically, Asterion is the victim of the story because he's described as a child cast out from birth. Born from an extramarital union because of the errors of his father, he was treated as an outcast all his life. And he died as innocently as he was born. A tragic story, as the Greeks knew how to do so well. This statue has a crack in it. The crack is thin and about as long as a finger. I should be able to thrust in my sword. Let's go.
Okay. I think the answer, at least in part, is do not use the sword on the Minotaur. I don't know for sure, but I think that is incorrect. We do not want to stab the Minotaur. And once again, the thread goes through a wall we can't pass currently.
A pound. son of Daedalus and Nocrate. Impossible to mistake him with those wings. After flying too close to the sun, they came unstuck and he fell to his death. Pity. Hey, there's no crack here. Well, let's keep going.
Okay, we had... Well, let's do this really fast. Grab this. Carmelite water. So I have a few potential guesses or whatever where I don't use an effort point in the process. Can't go through there. Okay, and then if I go left here, what is this? Ah, it leads me back out to this. Okay. Okay, but what I was going to do is go back to it wasn't Minos, right? Who is it? Theseus, yeah. One of the legends. Oh wait, was I gonna do Theseus though?
I wonder if Mother managed to solve this enigma.
Yeah, okay, I did look at this earlier. Wait, was it Theseus or was it a different one that I was... Let's see. Was it Theseus or was it this one?
Daedalus. Architect and genius inventor. He built the labyrinth for Minos to imprison the Minotaur. I seem to recall that he told Ariadne how to get out of the labyrinth by tying a thread to himself. So, Theseus managed to exit the labyrinth without trouble once the beast was dead. And when Minos found him, he threw him into his own labyrinth along with his son Icarus.
So he and his son were both thrown into the labyrinth. So Minos threw Daedalus and Icarus into the labyrinth. Minos also deceived Poseidon and so ended up being cursed, but the curse was put on his son whom he had slain. See, this is all by Theseus. This is all bad news. I'd see. It seems to be pointing to Minos is the bad guy, right? Yeah, we're a ways into it now. Let me think. I don't remember where the last thing you saw was, Monmouth, but so I'm not gonna go into like a bunch of details. I'm just kind of explain the sections. So after the night with Elizabeth, where she poisoned us, basically we got unconscious. Okay. The next day we had a confrontation with Mortimer and the British guy, and had a confrontation there because he was accused. He would thought potentially we knew what happened to Elizabeth. We didn't. She poisoned us and knocked us out, right? So we didn't know anyway. Anyway, after that, then we, well, a few discussions obviously here and there, but basically we had a meeting where Mortimer welcomed the last person, Godoy from Spain, who brought news that the French king had been assassinated. And then they were looking for the other members of the French royal family to assassinate in the rebellion. Okay, so we had that whole discussion. Then after that, we went up to Mortimer's office. And we did some searching around the manor first, of course. Then we went up to Mortimer's office and read a bunch of information about different things of his ancestors and so on. Finally figured out a combination that opened the back part of his office, which was hidden. We went back there and learned that Mortimer is very heavy into not just science, but also he learned a lot about like occult stuff and legends and all that. Like he's kind of gathering a whole bunch of information. We found this weathered stone sword in that back room. So we're here in the maze now, trying to figure out where we thrust the sword. There are several statues with a slot where the sword could go. We have to thrust the sword into one of the statues, and then there will be in the center, there's a mechanism. Looks like a thing that will slide so stairs will open. There's a handprint. There's a hole in the handprint. So basically after you put I think the order is you put the sword in the correct statue, whichever one that is. You put your hand then, and then if you guess wrong, you'll get pricked, and it's probably poison or something. If you get it right, I think you don't get pricked. The thing opens, and then you can go down below. So that's where we are. Like I said, I'm feeling like Minos is the bad guy. Let's go back and read Ariadne's plaque, because what she says is important, I think. So all the way around here, because there's no short way ever to anything in this. Because I gotta go the long way. Wait, where? It was behind, wasn't it? Yeah, it was behind. So we go not here. Here first, then around, and behind. And out. There we go. Okay. So Ariadne said what again?
Ariadne. I guide the sword that will kill the monster. In Greek mythology, Ariadne helped Theseus out of the labyrinth.
I guide the sword that will kill the monster.
I guide the sword that will kill the monster.
So she's guiding the sword. Presumably, we have to then find or follow her thread, right? But if you can't go this way because there's like a dead end. But if we go around and follow the thread, going back and over here and around again, find the destination of the thread. I guess that's where the sword needs to end up, is where the thread ends. See, the thread ends here.
Theseus. Wrongly positioned, I am the blind hero. I wasn't expecting an inscription like that.
Wrongly positioned, I am the blind hero, huh?
Looks like a crack has been made on his torso.
Ah, okay.
It's as long as a finger. I'd say between 6 and 8 centimeters. He's the son of Aegeus. He became the mythical king of Athens, the unifying king. Pity, he's generally only remembered for having slayed the Minotaur.
I guide the sword that will kill the monster. So sword could either be the actual sword or it could be the person wielding the sword, in which case, wielding the sword
I wonder if Mother managed to solve this enigma.
would be Theseus. Theseus would be the one wielding the sword. We can see that the thread ends here. Also, I don't know that thrusting the sword in the person is meant to signify killing them. I think it's meant to look like that so that it's kind of a trick. But I think putting the sword in the right slot is more giving the sword to that person. If that translation is true, if putting the sword in the slot is just the symbolically giving the sword to them, then I should give it to Theseus. If, however, I am supposed to put the sword in, or if I'm supposed to put the sword into the actual monster, then it would be Minos, because he was a monster of a person. Or if I'm supposed to put it in the person who is perceived as the monster, I would put it in the Minotaur. Yeah, exactly. I think the Minotaur is wrong. I think the Minotaur is incorrect. I do not think we're supposed to put it in the Minotaur. Or the Minotaur. It'd be Minotaur because it was King Minos, right? But anyway, in English we say Minotaur. Some people say Minotaur, but it's supposed to be Minotaur. Anyway, in English it is. Anyway, so Minotaur, no, that's wrong. The question is, are we the one stabbing the monster with the sword, or are we giving the sword to the person who is to kill the monster? But then, if we give it to Theseus, that's bad too, right? Because in mythology, Theseus slays the Minotaur. So Theseus kills the Minotaur. We kill the Minotaur. Both of those end up with the Minotaur getting it. And he did make a point of saying the Minotaur was innocent in all of this. The problem I have is that Ariadne's text says, I guide the sword that will kill the monster. So her guiding was by using the thread, right? But if she's using the thread ends here. So this gets really confusing now. Yeah. I don't like this. Does the thread ever go by? Let's see. So I want to get to the other side of that. Follow it. So I need to come out again. Alright. Wait, no, we can still get into there. We just have to go around the other way, yeah. Yeah. So we'll go back. Okay, so the thread continued. We have to get to the thread over there. Okay. So the thread goes through to there and continues over to him, to Theseus, bringing the thread back the other way. We end up going through okay, first the thread goes up there. So first is the thread coming out here and then turning and going through there, which then goes down that way. So now we go around. Went all the way around. Nope, not this way. Hang on. This way. Then the thread comes out this side here after going past there. Comes all the way back here. Coming through here. And all the way back here to Ariadne.
Here's the famous Ariana's thread, thanks to which, if I remember rightly, Theseus avoided getting lost in the labyrinth.
So she gets the thread. The thread goes all the way to Theseus, and she specifically says
Ariadne,
on her plaque,
I guide the sword that will kill the monster.
in Greek mythology, Ariadne helped Theseus out of the labyrinth.
so boy, I don't know. Yeah, you can stab Ariadne. Well, I said Minos is the real monster. I didn't say that's necessarily the solution to the puzzle. So this is the thing. This is the problem. There are three ways of interpreting this, and that's the problem. Is which way am I supposed to interpret this? I don't think so, but let's see if Washington is still there. Maybe he can give me his opinion, although I doubt it. Like I said, I'm guessing this isn't a thing, but let's ask him.
Excuse me, my friend. I would like to be alone.
Of course, Mr.
All
President.
right, fine. So that's not going to help. Okay. Excuse me.
Christ Crucified by Velasquez. Look, someone's left a note there. Reserved for the Duke of Alquidia.
I thought because there's a sword in the side of Christ, maybe something can give me a clue from there, but maybe not. Because it's kind of close to the garden also. What was this again?
The Song of Roland. Roland feeleth his death is near. His brain is oozing by either ear. With his brain oozing, it's already remarkable that he can feel anything.
Alright, so I guess that's not helpful. Thank you. Yeah. I wish in here there were more. There was some kind of a summary of clues or something. But journal tells you the people, not other information. A sword with moss on it. Do any of the statues retain moss when I look at them? Icarus has no crack. That's not surprising. Icarus got trapped after the fact. He wasn't actually part of the killing of the Minotaur or any of that stuff. Yeah, see, it just doesn't... I don't think it's the Minotaur. I really, really, really do not think it's the Minotaur. So if it's not the Minotaur, Theseus kills the Minotaur. He doesn't have... Where's the statue of Minos? Here?
Minos.
Huh. Oh, nice. Yeah. I think, in fairness, I think there are, because I know several, I know several wealthy people who are not annoying. I think it basically, usually it boils down to one of two things. I don't know if it's all in all cases, but I think usually wealthy people being annoying boils down to one of two things. Either they're newly wealthy, they think that's how they should act, and or they want to fit in with wealthy society, so they abandon any etiquette they might have learned or whatever and become annoying because of that. Or they're born into wealth. They don't know anything other than they always get what they want because their parents were wealthy and so like hired nannies or something to take care of them. The children didn't really feel like they had to obey and stuff like that, and so they become snotty. So I think, honestly, those are generally the two kinds of annoying you get. But if you have somebody who became wealthy but didn't forget where they were from, and then you have them also pass on good morals and good teaching to their children, good etiquette teaching to their children, I feel like there's no reason that those children should be that way as well, right? Yeah. I mean, really, to me, in my mind, there are only two choices. It's either give it to Theseus or give it to Minos. But by giving it to them, quote unquote, you have to thrust it in them. My question is, I don't remember, does Theseus... He eventually escapes from the labyrinth, right? And then once he escapes from the labyrinth, does he not kill Minos? I feel like he does, but I don't remember. Let me see. I'm going to Google see if he ends up killing him. Because that'll affect my decision as well. Theseus kills Minos. Okay. So, Minotaur was the son of Pasiphae, wife of King Minos of Crete. Queen Pasiphae slept with a bull sent by Zeus and gave birth to a Minotaur, a creature half man, half bull, or two Minotaur, not a Minotaur. King Minos was embarrassed but did not want to kill the Minotaur, so he hid the monster in the labyrinth constructed by Daedalus at the Minoan palace of Knossos. According to the myth, Minos was imprisoning his enemies in the labyrinth so that the Minotaur could eat them. The labyrinth was such a complicated construction that no one could ever find the way out alive. Okay, this is all stuff we know, right? Son of Minos, Androgeus went to Athens to participate in the Pantheonic Games, but he was killed during the marathon by the bull that impregnated his mother Pasiphae. Minos was infuriated, demanded Aegis the king of Athens sends 7 men and women every year to the Minotaur to avert the plague caused by the death of Androgeus. The 3rd year, Theseus, son of Aegeus, decided to be one of the 7 men that would go to Crete in order to kill the Minotaur and end the human sacrifices to the monster. King Aegeus tried to make him change his mind, but Theseus was determined to slay the monster. Theseus promised his father he'd put up white sails coming back from Crete, allowing him to know in advance that he was coming back alive. The boat would turn with black sails if Theseus was killed. Theseus announced to King Minos that he was going to kill the monster, but Minos knew that even if he did manage to kill the Minotaur, Theseus would never be able to exit the labyrinth. Theseus met Princess Ariadne, though, daughter of King Minos, who fell madly in love with him and decided to help Theseus. She gave him a thread and told him to unravel it as he would penetrate deeper and deeper into the labyrinth so that he'd know the way out when he kills the monster. All this stuff is not telling us something new, it's just kind of putting stuff into perspective, right? Oh, he only killed the Minotaur? Okay. Theseus followed her suggestion, entered the labyrinth with a thread. Theseus managed to kill the Minotaur and save the Athenians, and with Ariadne's thread, he managed to retrace his way out. Theseus took Princess Ariadne with him, left Crete, sailing happily back to Athens. Theseus' boat stopped at Naxos, and the Athenians had a long celebration dedicated to Theseus and Ariadne. After long hours of feasting and drinking, Ariadne fell asleep on the shore, did not enter the boat that sailed to Athens. Theseus figured out that Ariadne was not with them when it was too late, and he was so upset that he forgot the promise he made to his father and did not change the sails. King Aegeus was waiting at Cape Sounion to see the sails of the boat. He saw the black sails from afar, presumed his son was dead. He dropped himself to the waters, committing suicide, and then the sea became called the Aegean Sea. Myth of Theseus and the Minotaurs inspired numerous artists, blah, 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 blah. So, in all honesty, it almost sounds like Theseus is the bad guy. Because Minos did actually not... Well, but this is where we have to go based on what the game says, right? The game does paint him as the bad guy. The game said, right? We would go here. Oh wait, actually,
Minos.
okay. We do this.
He and his queen, Pasiphae, were the monarchs of Crete. In mythology, King Minos was known as a wise and just king, despite the fact that he deceived Poseidon. As punishment, his country was devastated by the white bull of the sea god, and his wife became passionately in love with it. From their union, Asterion was born, sadly known to us as the Minotaur. The illegitimate child, the child of shame, who had a sorry fate. His gesture sealed his fate.
So we go to Theseus. Is this where it says that he was hired?
He's the son of Aegeus. He became the mythical king of Athens, the unifying king. Pity, he's generally only remembered for having slayed the Minotaur. Wrongly positioned, I am the blind hero. I wasn't expecting an inscription like that. I seem to recall he took the decision to confront the Minotaur. He killed the beast, but if it weren't for Ariadne's help, he would have been trapped in that labyrinth forever. In short, yet another hero who wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. Okay, I'm probably being a bit harsh. I mean, we do owe him the foundations of Athens. In other words, the Republic. Render therefore unto Caesar what is Caesar's.
That was super cheesy and not very helpful. So he was badly positioned, he was the blind hero. Or wrongly positioned. Whatever, you were totally right on scratches. Stop it. You were fine. Yeah, he was great but manipulated. See, the problem is the whole idea of the monster. I mean, you can interpret that 5,000 million ways. I'm actually thinking now, Minos was not the monster that I was originally thinking, because Minos hid Asterius away, the Minotaur. He hid the Minotaur down in the labyrinth, but he didn't kill him. He didn't want to kill him. It even said in that legend thing I read, he didn't want to kill him. So, if I do the opposite of what you say, whatever. Damn it. Okay, so let's put this all together and see who really the villain might be, okay? So, Minos deceived Poseidon, as a consequence of which he was cursed, but like often happens in Greek stories, the curse did not fall on him, but fell on his relatives, in this case, his wife. Because, for example, you could see the curse of Oedipus, right? Oedipus's father, wanting to avoid the proclamation of the fates, sent Oedipus away, after which Oedipus grew up in another town, and the curse befell. Well, it did befall Oedipus's dad too, didn't it? He went back and slew his own father because they met between the cities, and he didn't realize it was his own dad. So in that case, the curse did fall upon him. Anyway, that's a complete aside. Sorry, I was using that as an example and it turned out wrong. Anyway, so in this case, Minos was not cursed. Well, he kind of was. The curse really went to his wife, though. His wife fell madly in love with White Bull and had Asterion as a consequence. Asterion became known as the Minotaur and was put down into the labyrinth because Minos was ashamed of him or embarrassed by him. So that's kind of a bad act. It's not like killing him or something, though. However, his son then went to Athens, or to whatever, to the games, and was killed there. And Minos was so angry, he demanded regular tribute of 7 people from Athens to be butchered by the Minotaur. So far, Minos has two problems. He's basically like a murder accomplice, and he's a proud, arrogant man or whatever, and like he can't tolerate his own son. You're still for killing Minos? Yeah. Well, so that's the thing. So Minos has like, let's say the pride is like a half a thing. So he has like 1.5 things. Maybe I should do it this way, so I'm flipping you off. Okay, so 1.5 things for Minos. Okay. Asterion was the murderer, honestly, right? But is that his fault? Normally, I would say if they're a normal person, if they're a person, I would say it's definitely their fault. But there are always circumstantial things to consider. Like, is somebody mentally stable when they kill somebody, right? Stuff like that. So, in this case, is Asterion, is the Minotaur, actually able to understand not to kill people? I don't know. But even if we say yes, basically, we're one, murder, because Minos was involved in just as many, right? As an accomplice. He sent 7 people every time, and then Asterion killed 7 people. So, they're both guilty of basically of murder. Same number of murders. Minos also has the pride thing, whereas the Minotaur was just doing what he did down the labyrinth. Okay, then Theseus comes along and says, I'm going to stop this from killing my brothers and sisters. So in that sense, he's trying to be heroic, right? He's like, this is a monster. It's killing my people. I'm going to kill it so it stops killing my people. So that's heroic. Although he is setting out to kill somebody, but pretty much that's heroic, right? He then talks to Ariadne, who promises a thread to let him find his way out of the labyrinth. So Ariadne is sort of guilty of like an accomplice in the killing of her brother. Because Asterion technically is her brother, like half brother, but technically is her brother. Yeah. Yeah, okay.
I wonder if Mother managed to solve this enigma.
One more time, was there anything more on Minos that we didn't know?
Minos.
We've already learned everything on Minos we'll learn. Okay. Gosh, I'm obsessing about this way too much. Yeah, I'm thinking it's just a matter of the question being, do we thrust the sword in him as an act of giving it to him to use, or do we thrust the sword in him as an act of slaying the monster? I feel like putting the sword in them is an act of slaying the monster, especially if you compare with Asterion right here, who already has swords in his side multiple times. So I feel like putting a sword in someone is the act of killing them. I don't know. Too abstract, maybe. It's hard to say. Yeah, I'm really not... Yeah, like who would you want to... I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I think we're gonna judge. I think we're gonna go with what I was saying. I think we're gonna judge Minos as the true monster, because of all the different slights, of all the different evils, the different characters did, I think Minos did the most evil. So let's do this.
Minos.
I'm just gonna make a decision. I'm enough waffling. We're just gonna do it. Observe the crack.
The crack is in the region of the heart.
I'm nervous too. Okay. Screw it. We're going with that. No more waffling. We're just doing it. You're just doing it. Okay. Okay. Don't die. Don't. I have golden elixir, so I can potentially remove negative effects if I get poisoned. Maybe. Okay, let's do it. Yeah! We got it, I think. He didn't act like he got stabbed. Yes! Yes! Minos was it. Holy crap. I way overanalyzed that, I think. I think I way overanalyzed that. Like, way too much. I should have just gone with my initial instinct, which was Minos. I just didn't want to get poisoned, right? Okay. Yeah. Oh, it's his headaches again? Or did I get poisoned? No, it's another vision. So I wasn't wrong. I didn't get poisoned. Okay.
You can't be serious, Manuel. You know that's not going to happen.
You must leave me alone now. I have agreed to everything. Even to...
Agreed? I wasn't aware you had a choice.
What's going on here?
What now? What else must I do to win back my freedom?
Obey me. Now get out.
Godoy's a prisoner?
What was that? That's the third time in 3 days.
His sleeves are all stained with blood from his nose. Doesn't he still have the handkerchief from Emily? Why wouldn't he just use that? Oh.
Let's see if you're in there, Mother.
That's bad. Blood? Somebody got hurt and went down there. Crap. Okay. Coin.
A fragment of.
Oh no, it's amber. Oh, I gained. Unfortunately, I gained another effort point, but I'm not even close to maximum. You know, it'd be nice if I actually didn't use up all my effort points all the time. If I actually got a bunch of effort points for once, so I could just keep going.
Bandages. Someone's been patching themselves up. Looks like my mother took advantage of being in hiding to change her bandages, huh? This is silk. She must have used her own clothes.
Oh.
There are patches where the blood isn't totally clotted. That's a good sign, right? She changed them recently, which proves she's still looking after herself and still believes in her chances. Well, I'd love to tell her to keep hanging in there.
Yeah, you do it, boy. You do it. I'm not gonna waste on science in this case. I think that's probably not gonna give me much that's useful that I don't already know. Is this a coin then? Probably. There we go. Collector coin of some kind. Who is that? Is that a servant that's killed? Yeah. One of the servants is dead. Did Sarah kill him? He followed her and they got in a fight?
Damn it, Mother. Now what's happened?
Uh-oh. There's somebody behind you. Dude, there's somebody coming. No, turn around. Turn around. Oh man, he's getting smacked on the head. Oh no.
Don't move.
There you go.
Wait, I'm not armed.
Oh, is
Who
it
are you?
Sarah? I think it's Mom.
Good God, Mother, what have you...
Tell me who you are.
Alternate path. I could have inspired Peru to trust me. Yeah, well, okay. I eavesdropped on the conversation between Piaggi and Volner. I convinced Piaggi to reveal some important information to me. I succeeded in opening the entrance to the crypt without getting the statue wrong. I found my mother in the crypt. We didn't fail anything. I guess it's just an alternate path if Peru doesn't trust you. I know, right? Well, we saw her when we were first on the docks and approaching the manor before, like on the very first night. We actually saw her, a vision of her, talking with Emma, Emily's twin sister, and she was all kinds of messed up already, like she was there. She looked bad like she did there. So, we already knew that she was in bad state. Plus, of course, the bandages on the way, that helped us know as well. Four available points. Yeah, like I didn't obsess enough about the statues. Now I got to do this. I don't know. I feel like she probably, well, she was like against Volner at some point. We knew from notes that had been left. I don't know if he's the one who hurt her, but I feel like somebody caught on to what she was doing, whatever exactly it was, and they didn't like it, so they hurt her. It's possible it's that servant that we were observing. Or, no, I mean, I don't know. That dead servant. But somebody, obviously they got in a fight, and then, you know. That's what we have to find out. It's possible she has some, like, temporary, I don't know about it, not insanity, but maybe temporarily she's kind of not as aware of people's identities just because she's suspecting everybody. It's also possible that she just saw him from the back, right? And so didn't know that he had come. So she didn't know that, you know, I don't know. It's possible. So we'll get 3 effort points. So we'll be at 4. Keep using friggin' effort points for everything. So we're going to gain 1 for each of these because of because of our different equipped tomes. I believe we're going to gain 1 of each of these. So the question is, what is this one? Linguistics, right? Yeah, that's the implication is she got in a fight and the servant died in the in the skirmish. Whether she killed the servant or the servant, well, no, yeah. So the question is whether she killed the servant or not, right? She could have gotten in the fight with the servant and then maybe she got beaten up but the servant died as her consequence, or she found the servant, somebody else betrayed her or saw her and thought they killed her, but either left her for dead and she didn't die, or she got injured in the fight and fled and they weren't able to, she escaped somehow. And the servant was killed otherwise, like in some other way. That's a possibility as well, of course. Okay. And that's etiquette. That's politics. I think... coordination, huh? We haven't really needed agility. I'm wondering if we're going to start needing something like agility. Because we're getting... I mean, this is only episode 2. This is, you know, working... We're like, I think, halfway through episode 2. But... we're starting to get to the point where I could definitely see potentially like chases and stuff happening. Maybe not yet, but coming up. So I might want to increase agility, actually. I'm already level 1, so I would increase it to 2, which would basically mean that use is free. Or no, sorry. Skill points would be reduced by 3. When you get to level 3, that's when the use is free. But I kind of want to increase science and occultism as well. I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to assume we're not quite to the point to need agility yet, but it will be soon. And I'm going to put points in occultism and science, I think. Right? Yeah. I could also do subterfuge. One more. I don't remember what... So inventory, what things do I have yet to equip that I could? That's psychology, that's psychology. That's linguistics, that's politics. That's science. So I could equip that, and then I would be 1 point shy of science, but that would give... This would give me the extra science. What if I end up finding these? Politics, psychology, manipulation, conviction, occultism. Okay, so let's do 1 in science, 1 in subterfuge, 2 in occultism, and then once we have that tome equipped, so once we level again, because we'll have that tome equipped, then we'll automatically get another point in science and beat a level 2 in science as well. Let's do that. Okay, I think we're good. And then next level, I'll definitely level agility. Because like I said, and I might be late. We might need it with this coming section of episode 2. It's possible. But I have this bad, lingering, nagging feeling in the back of my head like agility is going to become super important at some point, not too far in the future. But I don't know if it's quite yet. So let's... I mean, there are 4, at least, if not 5 episodes. So we've got a lot of the game still to go through. So, yeah, exactly. So we'll do this for now. Next time we level, though, we'll do agility for sure. Okay, so let's do this. Okay. Into the Lion's Den achievement. Oh, that's the end of episode 2. Okay. Okay. Well, that took me forever, unfortunately, for that last part. I really wish I wouldn't have spent so long on that. God dang it.